Good evening, everyone. Good evening, people of Zambia. Good evening, people of Chingola, people of Rwansha. Good evening, people of Chuempara, and good evening, people from the diaspora. As usual, this is the live broadcast of Akwetu. Unfortunately, today I may be likely to be alone, but hopefully I'll be joined by my other colleagues. Today, since the term, there have been some changes and some other disappointment with some other officers. I've never had enough time to chat with the people here on Vakwetu TV. And today I want to discuss the issue of the changes that have happened in the Ministry of Health. And moreover, as you know very well, health sector is my passion, and I want to see and make sure that the Zambian people receive the quality health care that they deserve very much, unlike what has been happening in the past. So as today, I'll try to talk about the matter that have been there. We have seen that for the past 7 years, let me start from the past 7 years and the past 10 years, if I can say so. There have been a lot of changes that have been happening in the health sector, but still, the people still have a big challenge in terms of having access to the health services. Let me get you or take you back first in the early 2000. I think in the early 2000, you saw what was happening in terms of the matter of the Kapoko case, and also the current secretary to cabinet was Dr. Simon Miti, where Kapoko, as we are talking right now, is serving a jail sentence in Chimbokai and other places which we may not know. The thing that happened there was the issue pertaining with the pharmaceutical matters, where there are issues of drugs which were involved, while there are issues of human resource which were involved, and other misappropriation of funds which really happened, and you saw that Kapoko himself there was convicted. And the Kapoko being convicted there, he mentioned when he was actually in court, he mentioned to say even the current secretary to cabinet was very much involved, and him and the secretary to cabinet, they are working together and stealing or getting the money together. But fast forward, we saw what happened to Manawasa there, and he had to jail Kapoko. Fast forward, we have come back in the same situation where the Ministry of Health has also tended to be at the center of all the corruption that has been happening in the health sector or in the former government of the Patriotic Plan. The reason is simple. All this time, we had issues, or we had the other ministers who were there. We had ministers like Branch 2. We had ministers like Silver Marcel some time back. We had ministers like Dr. Joseph Kasonde. All these people didn't have any scandal tainted to them, but only when we saw the coming in of Miti Chitaruchirufia and now Malama in the Ministry of Health, and we have seen scandals after scandals. Before I go further, I can remind you back to say the current secretary to cabinet was also involved in all the previous scandals that have been happening in the Ministry of Health. Mutupini, kesi ya bakapoko ilia, ba miti, omobali, bakapoko bali dandiro mklandambe nati, ba miti abana ngumeba chitakuiti, na vena, na bakwatako problem ya kweba tinemiti. And Vamiti, he was supposed to be jailed together with Kapoko, but Kapoko was jailed while him was acquitted. Moving forward, come to 2020, 2017, 2019, the time he was appointed as a secretary to cabinet, even the scandals at the Ministry of Health started. We had issues of honeybee, we had issues of fake vaccines, we had issues of tricycle ambulances, we had issues of ambulances. All those things now started coming out through the Ministry of Health once the introduction of who the secretary to cabinet. I'm not saying is involved, but I'm just trying to help you understand how we started, how these things went, how these things came about. I'm not saying he's involved. I don't know. I'm not the court. He has not been convicted for anything. So I'm just giving you an example to say, and after bakapoko bachitanani kani bana maseos ba miti bali muni bakapoko na babulaya bali bonse pamo ba miti baba kwite no after bachitefyo the loba miti babwela, and was appointed the secretary to cabinet. As he was appointed secretary to cabinet, twalikwete ku health kwa baba bachitaruchirufya. After bachitaruchirufya kwa bana ba permanent secretary Ozi Kennedy Malama. Now 2 days ago, there are some changes that happened in the Ministry of Health, where the permanent secretary for administration, who's Mr. should be Matthews in Ngurube, if I'm not mistaken, was fired, and we are waiting for who will be the next replacement in the Ministry of Health. Well, the permanent secretary for technical services is still holding on to the job of being the permanent secretary. But I want to draw you closer here to the issue here, which is so important. Ministry of Health have been having technical problems, not administration problems. It's not administrative problems. The issue of supply of fake drugs in the honeybee scandal, it is about technical issue. The issue of giving drugs, giving fake drugs to the members of the public is about technical issue. The issue of fake condoms is about technical issue. The issue of tricycles that are exaggerated in pricing is about technical issue. The issue of health workers not being employed is about technical issue. The issue of the members of the public not being satisfied with the service that they are supposed to receive is about technical issue. So all the problems that have been there in the Ministry of Health are issues to do with the technical problem as compared to the issues to do with the admin problems. What am I trying to say? I'm wondering to say why Marama is still there as a technical problem, as a technical permanent secretary. Well, the friend has been relieved from his duties. That's the problem that I have as an individual and as a person who have been all the time holding accountable the Ministry of Health in terms of what they have been doing. All the problems that we have seen, or they have a root of the technical problem. When we had issues of honeybee, the person who was sent to answer in Parliament there was the permanent secretary, Kako Akarubero. She was a admin permanent secretary, and the questions that were asked in parliamentary committee there for health were all about technical problem. Now, it didn't happen by coincidence that Kaku went to answer the question there. I refuse if someone says it's coincidence. No. The people who were there knew very well that the permanent secretary, she's going to find this problem as she goes to parliamentary committee on health, and she's going to be asked technical problem. All the questions that she was asked were all about technical. And for sure, she was admitting the question which came out were technical, and she failed to respond and give the correct answers to all the technical problems. Well, the person who's at the mess of all the technical problems was seated quietly at the Ministry of Health. Today, we have the Ngurube who has been relieved from the duties. And being relieved from the duties, not that there are issues of admin issues. No, there are issues of technical problems that are still there. We complained of Chitaruchirufya being the minister by then and was fired. We were thinking like all the corruption will end, all the technical problem will end. We were thinking of, since Kakushi has been sent to jail, she has been sent to court, and the other thing what will happening, then we are going to have some changes. But still, the problem was still there. We received fake vaccines, which were destroyed before even the company that was supposed to, the company that brought those things was prosecuted. We received about the issues of tricycles before we even know that. We discovered that the tricycles issues were pushed away and no one has been held accountable. All those are technical problems. They are not admin problems. Today, we have been talking about the misappropriation of COVID funds, which was about 1.5 million, 1.5 billion kwacha. This fund involves the issues of Zambia National Public Health Institute. There, that's where we have a director in the name of Professor Victor Mukonka. He needs also to answer about the issues that have been happening concerning that funding. And moreover, he doesn't report by himself alone. He reports to his boss, who's the permanent secretary for technical services, who's still holding on to that office where all these things have been happening in the Ministry of Health. Check again. We have been talking about Zamra destroying the Findre vaccine without prosecuting a Findre, without even doing any test concerning the same vaccine. And Zamra reports to their technical, the permanent secretary, technical services. But what is happening here today? The same permanent secretary for technical services is still holding on to that office. So now you wonder, are we trying to build confidence in the Ministry of Health? The answer is a big no. We are not building the confidence in the Ministry of Health. The only clean person whom we have currently in the Ministry of Health is the Minister for Health, who's Honorable Silva Masewo. But is she being helped? The answer is no. Why am I saying no? We talked about the issues of unb condoms. And in the recent statement last week, the Minister for Health issued a statement which was given by the Permanent Secretary of Technical Services to say that we have a reduction in the number of HIV cases, which is not true. We had issues of people giving fake condoms. And when we check the statement very well, you find that the result of analysis was the results for 2010 and 2016. Who does that? Who does that? It's only a permanent secretary who gave a wrong message to the Minister for Health. And in this situation, it is not the permanent secretary for admin. That one was an accountant. He knew nothing or knows nothing about the issues concerning with health, but it was about the permanent secretary for technical services. So instead of analyzing the results for 2019-2020, he went further and said the result, the HIV prevalence rate have drastically reduced from 2010 of 70,000 to about 46,000 in 2016. Who does that? How can you for sure this time and era we can be analyzing the results for 2016 while we are in 2021? That was the statement that the Minister for Health was given by the Permanent Secretary Technical Services to read to the members of the public. What have I concluded in that? The Permanent Secretary for Technical Services is trying to shoot his friends in the name of Chitaruchi Rufia and the other people who supplied fake drugs to the members of the public, who supplied fake condoms to the members of the public. Well, 2 months, 3 months ago, the National AIDS Council of Zambia issued a statement saying that the number of HIV infection or prevalence rate have increased by 26%. And for me, I agreed with them because we subjected the 17 million Zambians to fake condoms. Now, how come all of a sudden the minister was given a wrong statement to read to the members of the public? That is something unacceptable and showing, and this is also like sabotaging the new government. You see, by saying or showing that the new government is trying to choose the ministers who knows nothing, that is something unacceptable. And we cannot continue and allow our ministers who have been appointed by His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema to be misled by these people who are trying to cover up the wrong activities of their friends. What happened? What other statement came out from the Minister of Health? The last week again, the Minister of Health issued a statement saying that all the bad seeds in the Ministry of Health, those who were on transfer, those who were on other disciplinary issues that were happening in the Ministry of Health should nowhere be brought near the Ministry of Health. Again, that was a wrong statement and misleading the minister, the new Minister for Health. What transfers did people happen to have? You discover that people had transferred due to politics because someone, his name is Hakainde. No, you are supporting of UPND, so you cannot be you cannot work as a provincial director or as a director in the Ministry of Health because someone, the name is Muviana. They told them to say you cannot serve and they were given all the transfers. And these were transfers and disciplinary cases that were happening. Now, if someone means well to the Minister for Health, how can he misread the minister by letting the minister say such kind of a statement? Well, we know all the facts that the Minister for Health was given that information by our permanent secretary. Let me take you, for example, in 2016, we had an issue where the president was campaigning in Kasama. And when he was campaigning in Kasama, the plane which he was in went to Kasama, and there was a fracas there. The PF and UPND cadres were fighting, and our UPND cadres were fought. Then the then provincial director then, who's Dr. Mutoloki, authorized the use of an ambulance to pick those people, and he wrote the medical reports on those people to say yes, they were injured by the PF cadres. What happened to Dr. Mutoloki? Dr. Mutoloki was retired in national interest. National interest. He was tried on national interest for saying that. Well, who are the people communicated those wrong things? We are the same people who are still at the Ministry of Health. Let's go back. Again, let me give one example again. We had issues of, again, in Kitu and in Ndola teaching hospitals. We had the issues of Dr. Mwewa and the issues of Dr. Malao. Dr. Malao was at Ndola Central Hospital, and Dr. Mwewa was at Kitwe Central Hospital. All these medical professionals suffered and were transferred. For Dr. Malao was transferred from being a medical superintendent for Kitwe or for Ndola Teaching Hospital to go and be a district medical officer in Southern Province because he was deemed to be Tonga. And these are the transfers and the problem that you have been talking about. Now, how can you, as a permanent secretary, technical service, misread the Minister for Health by letting the minister say and issue a statement that all those transfers should not be considered? Here's a person who was victimized. Here's a person who was retired in national interest. Here's a person who was removed from being a senior medical superintendent to go and be a district medical director and start working in a ward. Who does that? Then today, because we have now a change in government, you want those people to say they should not be near Ndeke House? That's something unacceptable. And this is what we all need to stand against, such kind of injustices. We saw a lot of medical officers being transferred or being demoted for just attending to a UPND cadre who were hiked or who were beaten by the PF cadre. We saw that. And now you want to see the same permanent secretary at technical services who are signing those things to continue serving. What interest? Then someone said this person is no hard worker. No, there's nothing of being a hard worker here. There's a lot of someone not being correct in whatever they have been doing. They want to sound politically correct. Well, they were stepping on their friends' toes, where they are stepping on their friends' eggs. We saw a lot of that. What happened to Dr. Kasonga at UTH? What happened to him? We had all issues of also him being implicated in the issues for Kasonga being a Northwesterner. He was considered not to sympathize with the UPNG. Today, where's Dr. Kasonga? He's just working at UTH in the theater. That's why he's doing his works. And today, when now we have change of government, you want the president to maintain the minister for the permanent secretary for technical services? No, that's unfair. That's something unacceptable. And we should demand a fair play in all this as the members of the public. We saw not only that, we saw again the appointment of provincial medical directors in terms of being politically connected or being someone from the same province or from the same tribe. We saw issues of different provincial medical officers to be appointed in that. We saw issues of medical superintendent again being appointed on the pretense that these people are supporting or they are campaigning for the PF government. Now, if we have the issue of competence, it was removed out of there, and we brought in issues of politics, nepotism, and issues of political connection. That was the issue that was there. So it is like a issue or a big thing of cartel being brought in the Ministry of Health to save the Zambian people. Now, what really happened? We saw a lot of health workers being demotivated. And all these things were brought in and discussed with a permanent secretary. Technical services agrees, then it goes a permanent secretary administration to sign for those things to happen. But today we are seeing the same permanent secretary, technical services, is still at work, still working. I think that's something unacceptable. Provided your name is like my brother here, Mukerabai, meaning that you be transferred whether you like it or not. If there's any small fracas in your institution or the hospital you are serving as a boss or as a director, in your province where there are issues that rises up, you'll be transferred. And all those issues which were coming out were technical issues. All those issues which were coming out were technical issues. And for them to make a decision that yes, Mukerabai needs to be transferred, meaning that everyone has agreed. Now, we have a minister there, and the people of Zambia lost confidence in the entire Ministry of Health because of all these things that were happening concerning tribes, concerning nepotism, concerning political connections, and including that other technical problem that resulted in buying fake drugs, fake condoms, fake vaccines, and having issues of having also issues of buying ventilators that were not okay. A ventilator, again, when you check very well, it is not an issue of admin. That's a technical issue. When you buy a ventilator is not working, or you buy a ventilator differs in terms of specs. That's technical issue. It's technical knowledge. Then today we say that no, this permanent secretary technical service needs to stay. No, I think we are not building confidence in the members of the public. We have issues. The members of the public are still complaining. They are not still happy with what is happening. Even myself, I'm supporting the members of the public who are complaining to say we need, yes, a total overhaul in the Ministry of Health. But why have we kept a permanent secretary at technical services? Why have we kept the directors in the Ministry of Health? These are the people who were once they are sitting, not using their own monies, they were sitting using our monies and agree to award a contract to ANIB, and not only awarding a contract, ANIB brings fake drugs that were counterfeit. They authorized that to the members of the public, and the public consumed that. Then today we talk about the issues of admin. That's something unacceptable. Let me remind you again one thing that we need to look at. Before the election, wherever President Hakainde Hichilema was leaving, there were issues of the following day or 2 days later, fake results for COVID being announced. And as a result, President Hakainde Hichilema was denied to do a lot of campaigns in a lot of areas that was supposed to be. And this resulted in other areas having a poor performance as compared to the areas that were supposed to, as compared to the numbers that were supposed to have. And in this situation, what I'm trying to say is, when the UPND government won the elections, the numbers and the results that were coming in from the COVID situation have drastically disappeared and have drastically gone like in a mute. Where are the numbers that were mentioned before or when the time we were campaigning for these elections? Where have the people disappeared? All these things are not admin problems, are technical problems. And this shows you to say there's a problem with the technical people who are there, including the directors, but they are still there. We saw about issues of provincial medical directors and other directors in hospitals, medical superintendents, siding and exaggerating the visit of President Hakainde Hichilema in these areas to campaign. Should we continue looking as the members of the public? No, we should not. We are not. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that the people who are there, they should be let them to be. No, I'm saying they should all go to gain the confidence in the members of the public. Currently, provided those people are there, the confidence level in the Ministry of Health will continue to swindle, and as of it is right now, the confidence level is drastically zero. When we check again, today the Ministry of Health issued to say Zambia is not among the people or the countries that have reached 10% in terms of vaccination. I've been consistently talking about issues of vaccination. I've been consistently talking about 100,000 doses of the vaccine that have gone missing, where no one up to today has not given any information. I've been consistently talking about the FINDRE vaccine, 10,000 doses of the FINDRE vaccine being brought in the country. Do you think the people of Zambia will have a lot of energy or confidence to go get a vaccine provided by these people whom they know don't mean well for them? The answer is a big no. Today you can complain that Zambia is not among the countries that have received that have reached 10% of vaccinating the people. Why is it happening like that? Because of the people who are handling all this, starting from Zambia National Public Health Institute, which need to be totally overhauled because they sided with the oppressors. They sided with the oppressors and trying to oppress all of us, the innocent individuals, and all of us who are trying to speak out for the 17 million Zambians. Then we need to also have a total overhaul in the Ministry of Health. But we only have seen one person to be relieved from the duties, and that is now the Permanent Secretary for Admin. What about the Permanent Secretary for Technical Services, where all the problems we have are coming from? Why should we have the Permanent Secretary for Technical Services to be there? Today we are talking of more than 30,000 health workers being not employed. Why are these not employed? Because the person who's supposed to offer and say that we are having technical problem is not saying the way it's supposed to say. They are hiding information, and this is what's happening, but only misleading the minister by giving the minister the numbers for HIV, which were analyzed for 2010 and 2016. Not only that, we had issues of maternal mortality. When the minister met the directors, they mentioned that the number of maternal mortality in Zambia, we are losing 10 to 15 women per week, which is a huge number. And instead of that, someone goes on and say, this number is better than the number for 2010. Who does that? What are they trying to cover up? They are trying to cover up that the Zambian people were subjected to hospitals without drugs. The Zambian people were subjected to hospitals with fake drugs. They want to hide that the Zambian people or our mothers were subjected to having a labor without any medication that they are supposed, without any medication to help them in terms of their muscle relaxing and having labor. What were they hiding? They are trying to hide to our Zambian mothers that they are not dying from infections, or they are not dying from preeclampsia, hypertension in pregnancy. All these things are the things our mothers are dying, and these are preventable matters. Now, these people who are saying, they are saying that in 2010, the statistics were 300 and something. Now, right now, the statistics are much better, meaning that the PF government that subjected the Zambian people to all the counterfeit medicine, the counterfeit condoms, all the hospitals without having medications performed exceedingly well, which is not true. The Zambian people rejected the Patriotic Front government because our mothers were dying in large numbers. Our babies are dying in large numbers. The hospitals have no drugs. But here's a person who stands in the presence of the new minister and try to portray a picture like, you know, everything is okay and this government performed exceedingly very well. That's something unacceptable. Not only that, we all heard about the issues of Ministry of Health owing supplies of drugs 2.2 billion kwacha. When I mentioned in 2019 about issues of government explaining or putting up a program on how they are going to pay all the drug debts, the Ministry of Health, what happened? My license was revoked. There was no license for me. But for just saying that, can we have the Zambian people, can we have the government explain how it's going to have this debt be liquidated? And not only that, we should know very well that in the past 7 years of the Patriotic Front government, we had serious technical problem of having the drugs being recorded on a daily or weekly basis. Among that 2.2 billion, have we subtracted the amount for those fake drugs that were supplied? The answer is a big no. We have not done that. We are saying the government needs to pay those people who supplied counterfeit drugs to the Zambian people. Is that the way you are supposed to do? The answer is a big no. Why are we still holding on to the people who have been acting like terrorists in the Zambian people, in the Zambian health sector? I think that's something unacceptable. I'll end here and allow my colleagues to say one or two things. Can you say something, please?
To unmute. Good evening, viewers. Good evening, my brother. It was a very well. I can hear, I can feel the passion and some little bit of disappointments, and it is very good that you came out like that with a very straight and factual points. Indeed, people that belonged in that previous regime should be actually be ejected from this new government. We don't need people with dirty hands. You know, these guys, they never came to the country to rule our country in good faith. They saw, for them just to watch things going bad, that also makes them accomplice. So therefore, they need not to be kept. We need to, even though they did not steal, just by virtue of them just looking, they are professionally employed and we pay them. And for them to just neglect or deliberately keep quiet for fear that they may lose their contract, and they chose to go in hibernation when people are rooting, they're busy supplying fake medicine just to protect their contract. No, we don't need such people. And for them today to come out and say, all right, now they want to show that they are now professionals and they want to start acting. No, their hands are already dirty. So I will actually second Mr. Jerome that let the new government get rid of these bad eggs. Those who have dirty hands should not be in this new dawn. We don't need such kind of people. Look what is happening today. There's a lot of things that we, the Zambian people, did not know was going on. We pretended to give it a blind eye, but it was happening. Here you are, you see money has been discovered. If the money can be discovered to just a woman, What of the people that were in decision making, or those who were in strategic positions? What are the things that they're hiding from us that whistleblowers have not even told us yet? There's a lot. So I am for the idea that everyone should be these guys in this strategic position be subjected to search. Let them be indicted if possible, because there's a lot of crime. So my brother, you've done a good thing by coming out on this subject. I don't have much questions for you. I am just as disappointed as you are, and we want to appeal to the government of the day, Honorable Minister Silva Masevo. You, if you are listening, your Excellency, your Honorable, please get rid of these people. They will actually affect your work. You won't be able to work properly if you have people that are busy trying to cover up their tracks of a lot of liabilities. They are a liability to our country. We need to chuck them out. Please, they are our brothers, but we don't need them in those ministries. They've killed us. They've given us a lot of diseases from those medication they supplied to us. So please get rid of them and put them kwa wire. Let them go behind bars. Ritumes.
Yeah, thank you, Rom I think I'll ask Mr. Ali to say something before I come back.
Yeah, thank you again, Jerome. Well articulated, and first of all, we just love your intelligence in that industry. I can never compete with you, and obviously, you have substance and you have completely articulated yourself. I mean, this is something that we want to hear. Okay, Jerome. Again, thumbs up. Definitely, there's need for the Ministry of Health to establish structures that can possibly allow members of the public to voice out some kind of, a structure or support groups where we can take some suggestions there. Members of the public can take suggestions, because remember, the Ministry of Health is the driver of a happy population, a happy and healthy population. If the population is sick, if the population is injecting expired drugs, using expired condoms, it's a big concern, because, I live here in the United States, and a thriving population does a wonderful job in pushing the agenda of the nation. That's number one. Number two, we want to make sure that we have sort of a solid relationship, because in the past, what we've seen, and again, this is very important, let me mention here, that the Ministry of Health has been a conduit of serious corruption in Zambia. Whilst we may have turned a blind eye, but some of us guys that really believe in numbers, and I can tell you on top of my head that maybe 20 to 30% of the gaping hole at the Ministry of Health has deprived the Zambian budget in terms of servicing its population. Because can you just imagine, from the budget, and you're looking at 20 to 30% of lost income, lost monies through several dirty methods and so forth. So, to me, really, I feel that the Ministry of Health, for a long time, as citizens of the country, turned a blind eye, and that is very dangerous. The new government, we must hold them to high standards. Ministries like the Ministry of Health need serious reforms where it can open up to the public. That's number one. Number two, you just talked about the 2.2 billion that's missing from the health ministry's budget, where
That's the debt. That's the debt we have. The current
yes,
debt we have.
the current that we have, meaning we are unable to service our vendors. We're unable to pay them what is due to them, okay? Now, there's a reason why all that falls into one bucket of serious mismanagement. And when we look at the balance sheet of the Ministry of Health, it's a sad, sad story. So I would like to make a few recommendations here that number one, the Ministry of Health must maintain a serious relationship with the public. Let's have ways where we can channel our thoughts, have a relationship with the Ministry of Health, the minister herself, Sylvia Masebo, and we're busy putting together a document that what is it that we, the citizens, can do to support them in terms of combating this fraud. And you'll agree with me, Jerome, that much of this is in tender procedures. The tender procedures in the past have been shrouded in mysteries. We just don't understand how these tenders are done and how they're given out to these competing companies. But if that can be corrected, that is going to be very, very important, because that's where the issue is, okay? It's in the tenders. That's number one. Number two, the people that are involved in these corruption cases at the Ministry of Health. We've seen in the past that sort of the law was a little bit selective, but we need harder punishments. We were so disappointed, especially some of us, when we can eyeball view our country and we see all these mismanagements, a minister goes to court and they are acquitted. And there is clear evidence there. I am praying that these are some of the things as citizens we can speak through the Ministry of Health or maybe the judicial system somehow, so that these cases can be revisited, because there is serious disconnect there where we say a minister walks scot-free, okay? We want those cases back and be prosecuted, because this is very, very important. And I think I'd like to encourage all of us to really be part of this national program to develop our country, to voice out. The fear is gone in PF that we had, that we couldn't speak freely like this. I think we have a listening government, and we must do a good job as citizens really to bring these serious agendas on the table.
Varos, say something please before I come in.
Okay, Brother Jerome, thank you so much for speaking for the Zambians. What I want to say myself, what you said is true. If I was me, Honorable Minister Masebo, I'll fire everybody and bring the new people. Because these people, they have been doing the same and they'll continue doing the same. We voted for UPND for the change, for everything, because we don't want to be going back to the same thing these people used to do. So what, and for me here in the United States, I'm still mad because I have seen people who fought for this campaign, they're still under no job. They need to give them a job, because what's the point of keeping those people in the office? Because if you bring the new government, you bring the new people. That's what it's supposed to be. Because what they're doing, they're just gonna blind the minister, and they start continue where they ended. It's not gonna stop. It's gonna be the same. They ordered the expired medicine, expired condoms, and they're still gonna do the same. Like here in the United States, we have where we order the medication. This is the pharmacy where we order the medication. If they don't have, they are gonna look for the other, because in Zambia it's everybody who wants to have a tender. I have a tender because I know Jerome works there. I have somebody who works there. It doesn't work like that. It's like they are playing games. We don't want to be playing games. We have to be serious. That's why we're speaking for the change. It's not speaking for the change and then they keep the other people. If the president is listening to me, they better fire everybody. Not leaving anyone. We don't want any infection to bring again. So that's the only thing I can say. I'm still mad because there are some people who are still in the office. Like Abolala, they're still there. I know, but I used to work with my brother-in-law in Master General Hospital. He was doing the same, and he's not gonna stop. So why should they keep him? Prime Minister, Honorable Mrs. But they shouldn't even listen to them because they're just gonna lie to them. So Jerome keeps speaking for them. They're not gonna do anything with it. Whereby people are scared. They are gonna come to my house in the night. They're gonna chop my head. They're gonna chop my family some leg. No, we don't want that.
Yeah, Valos, thank you for
That's the
for
only thing
that.
I can say.
One thing that we need to know very well, we need to speak for the people who cannot speak. The fact that I can speak out on these matters does not mean that I need to also be mute and let other people who have been mistreated to continue being mistreated. These people, their target and their goal that they have is to mislead the new Minister for Health so that she's implicated in all the fake and all the scandals they have been doing. And people start complaining that, look, Honorable Masebo, she's a failure. She has failed. We want Chitaruchirufya back. He was a better person. That's what they want to show. No, look, President Hakainde Chilema, he was just talking. He has just failed. He cannot run the country because he has failed. Look, and this. All these things we are talking about, Minister of Health, they are not here or there. They have just continued with the same way of doing things. That's what they want to show. Now, that thing will not stop it. And myself have said, I'll not stop it. I need to make sure that I continue to speak out, voice out until the correct thing is done. People were demoted. If they are saying we don't have money to pay these people, why can't you just transfer a PS from a permanent secretary position to be a district medical officer somewhere, or to go in the ward? If they still want that job to be to end at 65, they can do that, and they can keep that person working in the ward. Why can't you do the same to provincial medical officers? And why can't you do the same to some of the hospital or medical superintendents? You take them in the wards, they continue serving the way their friends are doing things. Dr. Malao is still serving in the ward. Dr. Kasoka is still serving in the wards. We have a lot of other people. We have a lot of nurses who are still being pushed in a rural health center where they are found at in daycares or UTH. We have a lot of nurses. If they can do that, why can't also the new Minister for Health do the same thing to these people who are brought in to come and do the damage which they are doing, and the damage that they have done to the Zambian people? We can do the same. If they still want that job, no problem. We are not saying fire them, but remove them from the decision-making point of view and take them somewhere where they will be mentored by another person. As things are, those people need mentorship. Who can subject the 17 million Zambians to fake drugs, to fake condoms? Sure. And tomorrow you want to go and celebrate that my salary is in, the government has paid me, after you subject the 17 million Zambians to fake the condoms that are technical. That's something unacceptable. And the health workers are boiling currently. They are upset because their expectations have not been met by keeping these directors and a permanent secretary, technical services, still in office. They are still upset. They are talking within themselves. There is that thing of frustration within them. And once you have a frustrated workforce in the health sector, just know that there are a lot of bad things that may happen. You need health workers to be smiling on a daily basis. But what is happening? There is frustrations among the health workers. Imba Malambo, what is your say over this matter?
Jeremy, good evening.
Good evening.
I missed you, comrade. Welcome back. Jeremy, me, I'm going to speak like a layman's person who doesn't understand things. I'm going to speak on a low level. You've explained everything perfect, and the message is loud and clear. So me, I just want to sum up what you've said. Whatever is happening, bullshit, that is witchcraft. Twatemu okulanda ti indoshi awe na ipone indoshi. At the Ministry of Health, we have indoshi, shake. And now, I don't want to talk about the president. I'm going to talk about our new ministers. The best thing our Honorable Sylvia Masebo, she should do, kulanda shefo kuomba indoshi shonse shire, because they've killed.
I agree with you.
Because they are going to dig her grave. Those people, what they are looking for is to see her downfall. And they are going to do whatever it takes to bring her down. And because Nindoshi, they don't even have the morals to resign on their own. Because what they should have done, they should have a conscience, say, we've injured a lot of people. We've killed, they've killed. They can't argue. Badi baya. So they can resign. And they've said, we've really disappointed the people of Zambia. Because our health, but we use the condom. I don't know how she conceived. You see what they've done to a lot of Zambian people. So these guys, they are witches. Let them go. Let them go. So our ministers should talk to the president and say, Mr. President, until mushifumia shindoshi mumbikire kwa abantu who love the Zambian people, who respect the Zambian people, and who's going to push the agenda of the Zambian people first. Thank you, Jerome. Bye-bye.
Bapesi, what is your say? Bapesi Bachama, what is your say? And how are you comment? Unmute yourself, Bapesi. Yes, then you can start again.
Nachimana machitegesha pali wa Dr. Mjajati lero ka chachidiva.
Oh, okay, yeah. What ya kutwelela kopi twetela ndate nkulandira abantu enchito yesu.
Myself, to be honest with you, I won't say much about Ministry of Health. The person I'm putting all that blame is the president himself. I remember the other time when we spoke about appointments, I asked a question, and General, the answer he gave me wasn't that much, so I couldn't come back with a follow-up question, because all that falls down under the head of the president. Let me give you one example. When you look at after the elections for Biden and thingy, there was no money involved, but Biden wasn't given information, anything to do with COVID. What did Biden do? He organized some doctors around, made a committee. They were reporting to him, telling him what's going on. The point I'm trying to make here is the president, the time he was campaigning, and actually the time he knew that he's going to win. Let's be realistic. He knew. So he needed to have committees. In those committees, by now, they would have given him lists of people who are supposed to occupy certain offices. We are not supposed to even be talking about it, to be honest with you. And here it's the president. Yes, he's new, he's doing, but sometimes we have to just say the truth. Because you can say, oh, the minister can say, I don't want to work with them. The thing is, the guy will still get paid, even if the minister doesn't work with him. The point is, the president has to made a mistake, for me, the way I look at it. The time he was being inaugurated as president, he should have had a skeleton group of people, of which he knew that they'll go through. For example, like Garing Hombo, he knew that Garing Hombo would go through. He would have made him a chairman of something, health department in there, and he would have created a group. By now, we wouldn't be talking about that thief and this thief and that thief. No. For me, I blame the president. Because we just go round and round and round and round, whereas the person who's supposed to appoint is the person we have to blame. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Barbara Chanda, please, what's your take?
Thank you very much, Jerome, for the presentation, and you're on fire from Jajati to here. I actually totally agree with you. What you're saying is true. In fact, I've got a lot of friends working even in the Ministry of Health who've literally told me that they can't even say, Barbara, go to this topic and mention my name. They've categorically told me, don't mention my name, because they're still working under these people. So they can't even whistleblow at this point in time because they don't know what's going to happen to them. But the criminality that was happening there, because there's only the top that has been removed. There's only the minister that has changed. Everything else is the same. So the Ministry of Health needs to change, like, as soon as possible. But on top of that, like Jerome, in this world where we are living, there are two sides of the coins. There are people who think people are just out to wanting people to be sacked so that they can bring their own new UPND team. The honest truth is that these were stealing with impunity. There's no confidence in the Ministry of Health. That's why it's also important, everything that you've said, put it also in writing so that it goes to the table of the president. Exactly what has happened. In fact, Dr. Mnachonga is a very good friend of mine. He got sacked badly. This is an innocent human being. If you had Barbara Chanda got sacked for political reasons, you would just said, how many crimes did she commit? This is a guy who doesn't even involve himself in things like politics. Those are the people they were targeting. So
Yeah,
the Ministry of Health needs to be cleansed. They need to cleanse the ministry. Even just Jerome, there will be people right now ganging up on him, saying that he just wants a job. No, he doesn't want a job. He's actually telling the truth of what's been going on. And those same people, because they're still in office, they'll now start looking for bad things to put Jerome as the bad person, because they're already in the offices. That's why it's a bit urgent to change those people. They can go anywhere else. They can go back to the hospital. They can go, the Ministry of Health is massive. There are a lot of offices. There are some rural areas where they were sending people where they can still go and work. So it's not that we are saying they'll be sacked. They'll still be paid. They can go to the rural areas. They can go elsewhere. But that ministry where there was a procurement going wrong, lying about statistics, or the HIV rates have gone down, those are actually criminal offenses from my opinion. I agree with Jerome. It has to change completely, and just write it on paper. Everything has to be recorded that A is A, B is like B, so that people have a reading about what is going on, and it's on paper. Minister of Health is so annoying that you don't even know what to say, because people will think you just want them sacked, but it happened. People were given bad condoms, medication that was wrong. And it's not one time, it's not two times. Those things that we've read about are just the tip of the iceberg. There are things that they don't even report. When they report, it's because something is happening and maybe somebody knows about it. So we really need to be on top of things, and the population needs to be on top of it as well, because the Ministry of Health looks after everybody. It looks after everybody. The medicine that is expired, it's not just Jerome is going to drink that medicine. No, it's everyone, Charles, everyone, grandparent, whether you live in America, whether we are here in England, we have relatives, they go to the hospital, it's the same medicine they're going to drink. So they are criminals. Let me just end there before I start name dropping.
No, I hear you, my sister. No, we are not saying that no, just fire people. No, we are saying that these people, when they did all these calamities, they didn't see it fit for them to resign. If myself, I was involved in that, I would have just stood up and resigned, to say, no, I'm resigning. And let me state on another thing, the fact that even if I didn't get any money, but the fact that that thing happened in my office, then I would have just resigned for risking the 17 million Zambians. But these people have no moral compass in them, and they are still serving and holding on the Ministry of Health. That's one thing that we all need to worry about, because the population of Zambia, the future of Zambia depends on health. The well-being of Zambia depends on health. Now the people are supposed to take care of the Zambian people. Instead, what are they doing? They are subjecting them to all the counterfeit and fake things that are supposed to be there. And today, innocent permanent secretaries or innocent people are coming in, going, well, the major cancers are still remaining there. That is something unacceptable. Muhammad, what is your take over the matter?
Good evening, all. Nice to see you again, Jeremy. You are on fire tonight, eh? Uh, Minister of Health is one of the most strategic ministry of our government. From previous years, we've always found Ministry of Health have always been uh, having issues for procurement. I think what we need to do is now a complete mindset change of how this ministry is going to be run. It's not only the minister who is responsible. I think they need to have a strong procurement team under the state house or under the government, um, under such eminent team that can have check and balances from day one. Unfortunately, and this is, I agree with Percy and Rose, that I think when HH came into power, we missed the boat, because that's when the action should have taken place straight away. We have allowed the former directors, of the current directors from the former government, still running the show. What does that mean? All the evidence are being thrown away, distorted. We've seen just now, I was reading online about the Minister of Lands being, infiltrated, and they had damaged some records there. I'm sure Minister of Health has happened. The same thing has happened, because this is the same clique. The cream of all the funds that were coming in was Minister of Health. That's where all the money was being siphoned off, and we all know it. Everybody knows it. Jeremy, you yourself, you know exactly the procurement person, and the people that are in charge have been tainted. I am very, very, very surprised that HH, coming from a background of accountancy background with forensic audit and everything, should have been instituted from day one. Well, still it's not too late. We've got another 4.5 years, 5 years in the government. There are many things that has to be changed. First and foremost, disband the whole directorship, open up a new strategy, have a new sort of call for health, including the minister. The minister is not capable of running the whole ministry on her own. She needs to get the whole technocratic team right, which has to be supported and given substantive sort of powers to react and act, including in conjunction with Minister of Finance, because that's where the money comes in. At the moment, we've got 2.2 billion kwacha debt that has to be serviced. We have been supplied with drugs and things. If tomorrow this company stop supplying us, what will happen? There will be an uproar. So the doctors are not happy, the nurses are not happy, the service contracts are not right for the doctors and the nurses. We need to have a change. I hope the 5 days break which HH has taken to go to do and United Nations and getting IMF meetings and everything, when he comes back, action time comes in. That's all I can say. If we're going to keep on waiting game, I'm afraid, I think the horse will start bolting even further. That's my take.
Thank you, Muhammad.
Jerome,
Yes,
before you come in, I just
yes.
also want to mention this to the UPND government, that if at this time there will be a record of expired drug or counterfeit, the record will be under the UPND government. Whatever is going to happen by this PF members, it will be UPND. And there's no way they are going to deny it. The UPND officials, our president, it will be under HH's leadership. So let's bear this in their minds.
Thank you, Madam. I think one thing that we all have agreed and one thing that we have all said is the issue of all of us, all the people in the PF, to continue holding on. We are hearing about evidence by means of land being deleted. We are hearing about other evidences that are going to happen. You see, I don't know. Are you guys aware that Zambia National Public Health Institute, they got should be a loan of 90 million US dollars that's supposed to come for the fund to fight the COVID, and the money, there are issues of the money gone missing, and the head of state, the former head of state being implicated in all this. Are you aware of that? Maybe you are not aware. All these are the issues that have been dying. All these are appendages of the people attached to the Ministry of Health. How can 90 million go missing just like that? The money that was gotten by Zambia National Public Health Institute. If we have journalists who are following up, can you just follow it up with the Zambia National Public Health Institute? Let them explain where the money went, because that money didn't come for any COVID issues. Yes. Vam Kerabai, what can you say?
Am I on? There seem to be some technical something. Since you spoke a lot about technicality, and we can see that our online is also well. Jerome, you've made it clear, my brother. You cannot. You have spoken everything, but my issue is at one point. Maybe if you were here last week, you heard me. I was so much against people trying to rush the president and the new government, that they should not be rushed, or else they'll just fumble or make serious mistakes that we're gonna blame them. But let alone, I just sat down and read, and I saw how vicious and how bad-hearted the PF regime were, that what they are capable of doing. They ought to have resigned. Yes, most of those guys, they ought to have resigned on moral ground, especially when everything started now mushrooming. They ought to have just come in and tender in their resignations, but they did not. And here you are, you still hear them saying, we have our people there. They are still trying to fight. They're still trying to sabotage, and they will sabotage. What else can they do when a criminal, he has no place, is cornered? They can do anything to just survive. So this is why you see these issues coming out. We start hearing about documentation or computers being tampered with to delete certain information. They are still in the system. And if Hakainde Hichilema and his administrations are not careful, they are going to sabotage the whole system, and the country will be back to square one. And then when he start act afterwards, it will be too late. Already these chaps, they are busy hiding their properties, transferring money, huge colossal sum of monies that you have heard. This is not just hearsay, Vane. These are facts. We know what these people are capable of doing, what they have done. They are trying to destroy evidence. And they are using also some laws, taking advantage of the lacunas that are in our legal system, our laws. They're using those to prevent, they know that they cannot be caged. They know that they cannot be caged. Hence, us from this TV Bakwetu, we are saying, why can't the president utilize plan B? You know, you have to be clever to catch a thief. if we know that they will not, it will be expensive for us, it will be costly for us to incarcerate them, to prosecute them with our prosecution, the way we know they delay our cases, including the judiciary, the way we know the matters take long. So why can't we use plan B? Like we said the other day, that we can forfeit these properties, bring them to our to the government, and let those who think those properties, they were acquired them through legal means, come forward and produce evidence to show how they managed to have those monies, for example, in their possessions. So in my opinion, I would rather go for that. We are wasting time. Boy Church, we are wasting time. Bonalumango, you are wasting time. Do not sugarcoat these issues. Take charge. Release these people who are dirty. Nindo shikimaloi, amubazuse, bakami voloya, bakami omanyisa kwa batu baba miketile. Bwakainde, we voted for you. The majority voted for you. I hear even they are now even contemplating. I'm so much ashamed when I heard that some member of parliament, they want to the petition for impeachment of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema for it was sad. These are the chaps that destroyed the country. And we want to keep them like that, and even gallivanting in parliament, walking as though they did nothing. Mwevantu. King always a chwalo. Let's get rid of these chaps. Or else if we want be mwalale nga tuingire tuwe ama terrorist. Tukese oko tukese machita terrorize our evil PRS. Bakato nyela. Sorry guys, I'm sorry for the language, I'm upset. Sorry,
Dr.
Before the doctors,
let him. Yes.
No, I've got a question because I've been reading his write-up. So before he answers, I would like to ask him something concerning to the things he's been the conversation he's been having on our site. Dr. Hambalu, how are you, sir? I noticed that you wrote.
Can you look at the name properly?
Oh, sorry.
Don't it be like that Electoral Commission of Zambia who was saying
Amalumba, sorry. Yeah. Okay. The thing is, I noticed that you wrote that the president is doing a professional job at the moment. Now, my question is, personally, yes, he's doing an all right job. Not. I won't give him 10 out of 10. My question is, you've heard the conversation we are having here. Yeah, and all of us were complaining about one thing, that those appointments in the Ministry of Health, then we don't like the people, they were supposed to be moved. And you, when you come in to say that he's doing a professional job when we are complaining, then that's not a professional job. Do you understand where I'm coming from? And I'll leave it there. That's what I wanted to find out. What's your take? Because if he had done a 10 out of 10 job, it wouldn't be a problem.
You can never have 10 out of 10, given especially the decay of the situation that UPND is coming in. You can never get 10 out of 10. The pressure that is mounted on the president, it's very, very unfair. We are far from where it's happening on the ground. That's why I'm saying his approach is not haphazard. He's being careful. And so far you have seen even the way he has made the appointments. It's coming in batches, well researched. He's a type of a person who applies his mind to avoid, making mistakes. Because some of these things, if done in a hurry, in an emotional way, it hits back and we don't get anything out of the country.
Well,
Being in
doctor, that
being in a hurry, is my opinion, being in a hurry to correct such a damaged situation like Zambia can
well,
make it
doctor, I had the same position. I had the same position as well a few weeks ago, thinking, no, we are being unfair to the new government. They have to take control and we have to give them time. But
Do you
you
have a
cannot do.
moderator or people just speak anyhow?
Sorry, I had to cut you short because you are
Because
Tonga.
no one's opinion supersedes the other. If this is how debates of this intellect are supposed to be, we need to have order, moderate, so that our viewers can benefit. That's my take. No one is
Continue.
more.
You've
Thank
made
you.
your point. Continue, doctor.
Thank you,
Sorry for
back
interjecting.
moderator. Thank you. I just want some bit of order, then we shall really be very useful.
Okay, thank you for that. But I think we are trying to move in a well and in a well coordinated way. We'll get back to you, Doc. Mr. Adi.
Yeah, so again, thank you, Jerome. You see, and again, it's obviously a great opportunity. The president is coming to the United States, and one of the things we intend to do is to just have a conversation on that issue. I think that for a long time, as Zambians, we've never really been given that chance to connect with maybe a minister or head of state. I mean, they've all been shielded in the past. Maybe this is a great opportunity for us, your representatives here, to speak on the behalf of everyone that has questions like that, because we saw the rot in PF. But that besides the point, I think that, I was also, just like any one of us here, I'm beginning to take a position that I think that we are sort of moving at a slow speed. It's difficult for me. My profession really is to be meticulous, methodical, just as the president is doing it. But it comes a time in life when you really have to be a little bit of a savage to sort of get things under control. And there's nothing wrong, with that. I mean, all of us are professionals, but when things go left, we become savages here. Now, and the reason is that usually when there's a lame dunk period, a period of transition from one government to another, that's when a lot of things happen. And in my view, I expected the government to just be a little bit quick, sophisticated, and sort of be in a position to basically control this whole movement that we have seen. But now I think we'll find ourselves where cases which should have been prosecuted in less than 2-3 months will take us into 3, 4, 5 years, and we'll be talking about elections. And that's the problem right there. Why? Because all the evidence by the time we get there will have been destroyed. We talked about a fella here, Malama, who is still a permanent secretary in the Ministry of Health. These fellas should have just been told, hey guys, don't come to the office. Boom, that's it. The doors are closed. Keep them out. And then we begin working methodical inside when we are already in the system. Now, when we have these guys in the system, that's truly going to be very damaging for us to do a very good job and quickly to make sure we meet the appetite of the people that gave us the mandate to govern. And I can tell you that people will hold us accountable, and they're just waiting. And so, I listened to the president the other day when he was saying, well, we listened to you and we've made these changes quickly. Yes, that's what we need. The president must listen to us. We put him there, and he has to act quickly because these are serious issues. I do remember one of my big cases that I was part of the expert witnesses here when I worked for JP Morgan Chase was the Ben Madoff case, where I was part of the entourage, the audit team that went to research some of the evidence we needed in the Cayman Islands. One of the things I learned was speed, accuracy, and making sure that you are not left behind. So what's happening here is that we, the UPND, all of our intelligent folks in the investigation team, we are behind. These folks are 5, 10 times ahead of us. We've seen a lot of evidence of funds that are moving around the globe, exchanging banks, things like that. These are things that we have seen, and there's just a little bit of inertia on the side of our leadership. And I would have hoped that we could move also at rocket speed. That's what we are saying. So really, there's just so much for us to unpack. And I can tell you that some of these cases will drag and drag up to the election time. Now, when they drag like that means we are not being strategic. We are not being strategic because our electorates are going to hold us accountable to such inertia. So we just need to move a little bit quick and fast. So that's what I wanted to say.
Go back to Dr. Tommy. You wanted to make your point. Can you go ahead and make your point?
No, I think I've already made it, my brother, to say personally, I feel I'll be repeating what I've already said, just to say the president is being careful. And Lungu had really, the damage which is there. If you rush sometimes, you end up implicating the new people. So this thing is done. I'm very satisfied the way the president is approaching this damaged situation that Zambia finds in itself. You rush, you end up messing up the new people that are coming up. So at the end of it all, I have faith and confidence the Zambians will be happy, because at the same time, he has got also the mandate, he has put it very clear, to build the country, to build. You can see even how the appointments are done, how he is balancing all these things. There's a lot on the table. There is a lot on the table. And I respect your opinions, colleagues, also, and the desire. We all want to see a new Zambia with new leadership. But at the same time, I give him credit for approaching it in a careful manner to avoid mistakes. You forfeit someone's asset, for example, without proper gathering of data or evidence. The person sues back, they are powerful, they have the money, then the state loses the case. Those things are also embarrassing at the same time. So you need to be very careful. To build a prima facie case, you need to gather a lot of data so that when you go for it, like I said yesterday, when you go for it, you don't lose. But we have lost. We can go back and check our records. We have lost because of sometimes probably we use emotions. So when you take a different view or looking at what the law says, it doesn't mean you're not believing in what should be done. But you are just saying, but the law provides for that. Mr. Kanyika, thank you, my brother.
Okay, I get your point, Doc. Again, what you have said is very much right. But again, Doc, how are you going to come and get evidence or data in my office where I know that you're investigating me? I don't think so. How are you going to get the evidence about me in my office where I'm seated? You are investigating me. How are you? What method can you use? I'm there. I'm the owner of the office. Then you tell me I want this information. I want this. And I know you're investigating me. If I give you such information, I'll end up in jail or in prison. How are you going to get that information?
Yeah, I think the burden of the whole situation like probably, I don't know if it was someone mentioned to say our anti-corruption commission, for example, you know, these institutions are highly political. They are highly politicized PF institutions. So whatever investigations that we seem to be having now, they're not going anywhere. That's why we'll start seeing the fruits of these things. Not now, Mr. Kanyika. Not now. Not now. We need to have a credible
I think,
approach to this.
can I say something before I cut somebody out?
Please.
You know, I don't think we should have that mindset of thinking problems should not be resolved now. They should be resolved now. If this is a new government, we can't give excuses and say that corruption. This is exactly what I was saying even yesterday when we're talking about the millions stashed in the house. We can't start a process of being academic over crimes. If a crime has been committed, it's been committed. Something has to be done about it now, not next week, not last week, not, or let's see how we can now find a new constitution. No, with the little that we have now, we can still prosecute the people that have committed crimes now. For example, the guy who is from Honeybee, he was even posting on Facebook today, was it today or yesterday, trying to say nasty things about UPND because he's still in a happy corner. This is a person that procured medication that has harmed people. That paper trail is still there today. Today, that paper trail can be followed. So we can't be saying that we shall follow it, we shall do it in the future, we shall do it. There's a certain, the Minister of Health is a hot cake, and procurement in the Ministry of Health doesn't stop. As we speak today, people are ill, people need x-rays. So these things are being bought every day. If that procurement process is wrong, people are still making money as we speak today because paracetamol is still being bought today. What Jerome is saying is not what happened in the past, it's still what's happening today. Next week, they'll need to send medication to the provinces, to wherever. It's still an ongoing process. That's why there's a bit of urgency that needs to go in there. It's a question of urgency because by December, if things go wrong, we can't say it's the PF, it's UPND. And that's exactly what those people who were still in PF, who want things to go wrong, what Jerome was saying, they'll just say, this is what has happened now. So it's urgent. It's not a question of maybe our processes, we need to look at them in future. One day we'll see how we can catch money laundering, in future how we can catch this. No. These thieves have stolen today. Even if we've only got 0.1% law to catch those, let's use that same 0.1% to deal with them. Because we can. If it means them getting out of the office, sending them somewhere else, if they're innocent, they're innocent. Maybe they'll not be prosecuted, but at least we'll know that somebody, registered a company today in the morning. In the afternoon, they were given a deal for millions. The following day, these people don't care. They don't care. As far as they're concerned, they want to go and buy cars. They just, if somebody calls you and tells you that, oh, it's happening, you have a deal, you can make $20 million US today. They're not thinking about anything. They can go and buy fake coronavirus vaccines. They don't care. They don't care who it will go into. Those are criminal crimes. Those are things we cannot wait and say in future our systems will be a bit better, the corruption. No, these are crimes that have been committed to the people of Zambia today. In other countries, those can even be compared to terrorism because they're killing people. It's just that in Zambia, we don't respect life, I can tell you that. If a person dies in a hospital because of fake medicine, in Zambia, we just say, oh, batatana bafwa, bari kotamwe. It's God willing. No, it's not God willing. Somebody has died because of negligence. Negligence can never be God willing. If somebody dies because of negligence, it's not God willing. Something has to be done about it. We have to look at our processes where we stop facilitating criminals. The criminals who've done these things, they're on Facebook, they're even watching this program, they're probably laughing at Mwalitumpa Mulibana San. That's what they say. I'll not lie. They will tell you you're small people, they are big people, because they are connected in where they are because they've got the money. That's the crime that we have to stop. I end there because I can carry on.
Mr. Moderator, I'm not dominating. I'm sorry, my brother. But Barbara,
Okay, go on.
Barbara, yes, just a quick one. You have made a good point. But I really, God's people who believe in God, they know when to strike, the right time to strike. I think I'm trying to believe, to have that faith that HH is really striking or going to strike at the right time. If now we chase out these people from the offices, they might go with things. But it's better to look foolish this time. Let people call names. How long will this take? They are just still in denial that they're out of power. They can insult us. They can belittle us. The big question is, how long will that go? Believe me, Zambia shall be cleaned up. It's not hasty. We don't need hasty to normalize Zambia the way it is destroyed. We need careful attention. Gathering of evidence, to me, is a primary, not the propaganda, not the social media convictions or trials. No, we are talking of tangible evidence put up so that these seemingly, as you rightly say, powerful people with the money should not use that money to set themselves free.
Okay.
My worry is that, in Zambia, because of the poverty in Zambia, we are a culture that celebrates people with money. Because of poverty, it can just take one sentence on social media to change the mood of Zambians when it comes to money.
Okay.
That is why when the time is right, you have to nip something in the bud right at the beginning. Right now, when things are wrong, let's deal with them. I've got every confidence in our president, and I know that he's going to deal with it. But it's just something that we have to remind even the advisors. Okay,
please, let's see. Yeah, let's pick through the chair. We have Nachilombe, who have not said anything, and
okay, sorry.
Yeah, please say something. But before you say something, we need to know one thing here. We need to manage public perception. African politics is about numbers, and the people voted you into office. Currently, the rate at which the public are perceiving or seeing the United Party for National Development is very, very bad. And we need to boost that so that we keep holding on until that time for voting again. If we miss the point now, even if we come and do the correct thing at a later stage, it will be very difficult for people to trust us. So public perception is very important in African politics. Nachilombe.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Yeah. Thank you very much for this opportunity. My concern is, like we discussed yesterday, SCC, as Tommy said, was appointed by Lungu, isn't it? And so if they were appointed by Lungu, I know we are saying professional, but do we see them, say, for example, they get evidence, proper evidence, and then, being professional when they actually have an interest of the person who appointed them? You rightly said it's not going to go anywhere. So why do we have to wait when we know it's not going to go anywhere? Why? Why are we waiting? Because I think the best way should have been that our president or the current government appoints its own SCC, you see? Or if they don't want to remove them, they should have put 2 or 3 people, who are representing the current government, who are monitoring to see what's going on. Surely, in English, they say, you can't bite a finger that feeds you. Those people were appointed by Lungu, and they're not going to, they are there for his interest. So they're even, laughing. One side in the night, they talk to Lungu about the investigations, and then Lungu tells them what to do. You see? So it's like, really, that's my concern. And I agree with Jeremy. The public is crying. We've been crying to remove the thieves, and then we keep them. Because even SCC, they've been in power for almost 10 years. Which cases have they brought? If we look, they will highlight and say, we found this evidence and all that. And all of a sudden, it just runs underwater. Nothing happens. Is this what we want? So that's my concern. Really, something should be done quickly. If it means, I know what Tommy is saying. He's saying our president wants to have proper evidence and is a very careful man. That's okay. From that perspective, that's okay. But again, if it's not going to go anywhere, we are using the same people who Lungu appointed. So what are we saying here?
Jerome, can I come in, please?
Okay, let's conclude in the next 4 minutes. We close. I think we have overshot now by 11 minutes. We're supposed to end at 1 hour 30 minutes. Now we have overshot ourselves. So I think, Mambo, can you conclude for us?
Jerome, why don't you give all of us 30 seconds to just wrap up?
Okay, start your 30 seconds start.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Jerome. I'm going to say it in very simple words. We voted for change. And if we still have these people, what change are we talking about? And in leadership, there are some times when you have to be aggressive, you have to be passive, you have to be polite. It's not all the time you have to investigate. It's not all the time that you have to use the same route. Like, honeybee, what are we waiting for? All those who were involved in honeybee, why are they still occupying the offices? We voted for change. And to be honest, as we are talking here, as Jerome said, young people are crying because they are the majority voters who voted for change. We voted for PF to go, and we want the PF to go. I rest my case.
Thank you. Vachama, 30 seconds, please.
Can you mute yourself because there's an echo? Thank you. For me, to be honest, there are some bits I agree, but I disagree with the doctor, to be honest with you, because you can't be investigating somebody who's sitting in the office. This is not Chilufia's time. When we were investigating a minister who has stolen, he's still in the office, that's when you're investigating. When you hear people cry, that's when you move him to another thing. Not fire him, no, move him. So we don't want that. That's why I'm saying the president was supposed to have a skeleton group. There are some places they don't need to be MPs. Those places, SCCA, he would have appointed them. I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Rom Kelabai, please. It's your turn. 30 seconds, please. Let's be quick.
Yeah, with my summary, well, I would simply say that we have a government that we trusted and voted for. And definitely, they are going to deliver, and they are a listening government. And the only cry that we are crying for, I think they have heard that. We will be surprised that tomorrow people will be put on in hibernation. So we want them to go, and they know that they will be fired definitely. We don't want people. You cannot investigate, as my brother put it. You cannot investigate an officer, or you cannot investigate yourself, because those guys are they have blood on their hands. They have dirty hands. So there's no way we can still have such people in offices. They need to go, and they can just be either suspended or put on leave, forced leave. It's the prerogative of the president, and the ministers also. They have the power, especially the ministers. Now that the ministers are into office, the ministers can also suspend a permanent secretary who they suspect may have had some dirty hands. They can do that and wait for the appointing authority to terminate the contract. Otherwise, Valeria, thank you.
Thank you, Nachilombe. 30 seconds, please. Please, let's stick to 30 seconds. We have totally overshoot.
Vajelon,
Mkwai.
we had a discussion last night, in the last evening, Navamunsha, over the Kadevra type. I don't know, we can talk to them about it later, that we're supposed to have at least an extra 30 minutes or 15 extra minutes.
Because people have been complaining if these videos stay big, there are people downloads them. So that's the problem which is there. No wonder we maintain. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let me just go ahead, Divana Chilombe. I'll come in after you.
My point is in the lomba bakateka kwena twali batemwa sana natu batemwa sana batiri twatema ifine tulelanda baposa kwa mano bafumyepo abantu abatuleta tulemono ko bakitabale they are not there kuchita represent abantu baleta represent lungu tatuleba fire ero natwishwa kwa tefa tulelanda tuleirishanya kwena bale umfwa, and the people will tell him what people are saying. We are speaking on behalf of abantu. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Barbara Chanda. Dr. Barbara Chanda, please. Your 30 seconds.
I've only got 3 things. Number 1, Jerome, write the report about everything that you know about the Ministry of Health, so that is in writing. Number 2, we've got every confidence in Babali, our president, and I believe he's going to do the right thing. Number 3, to our friends who work in the Ministry of Health, who were part of the rot, we don't hate them, we are family. It's not personal, it's just business. The end.
Okay,
that's my contribution.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Tommy, please.
Thank you, my brother. You know, in Tonga we say, Mulandu Tauboli. In Bemba you say, Umulandu Taubola. So, the ACC of today is not the ACC of Bali.
Sorry, Mr. Adi, can you sorry, Mr. Adi, mute yourself. Mr. Adi, mute yourself. Okay.
Thank you. What I was saying was the ACC of today is not the ACC of Bali. These people will go. They will definitely go. And Mulandu Tauboli in Tonga will get them. Wherever they will be hiding, will get them. Bali will strike at the right time. I still have faith and belief that the approach taken is very professional. He's not being vindictive the way Lungu was vindictive. No one is going to be vindicated wrongly in the process. Patience this is 1 month after winning elections. A month. Patience, I think, is very important to give by the chance to put up strong institutions, Zambia shall be great again.
Thank you, Varos. Your 30 seconds, please.
Oh, thank you. What I can only say, I know a lot of people have said we voted for the change and we need to change. These people, they have to go. I'm sorry to say that. I'm gonna give you an example. When we have a new boss where I work, he came 1 month, he fired 25 people one day. 25. He wanted to save the money, almost 470,000 for 6 months. So I have ile chikwete nohuse nivakavoolala abantu ava because my heart is just jumping when I see vala vantu navekala maoffices, they are still working, and here I am. I've not slept. I'm gonna go to work, and some people they just come and take the money vala longa. It doesn't work like that. That's the only way I can say. They have to go.
Mr. Ali, your 30
Yeah.
seconds is on, please.
Thank you again, Jerome. Excellent job on moderating this discussion. We have so many things on our minds that maybe it's not the right time to unpack them. But I think what is important is to understand that corrupt people don't resign because they have no morals. And I'm hoping that going forward, the president, the way he's approaching these things on a professional level is to inculcate a mind into these professionals that serve high offices to when morally they become corrupt, they just need to step away. And that's what we expected to see in a lot of these professionals, but that's not happening. And the fact that they are still there, it continues to remind us the wounds that we've gone through in PF, because, I mean, we were brutalized. And so when we see them, it just makes us, angry. And the fact that I have no capacity to see Kampiongo here, I mean, I would slap that chap because these are the things the Zambians are going through. But lastly, Jerome, the president is coming here. We have an opportunity to address some of these things so that we see a little bit of action. To me, really, I'm worried about the inertia. I've been on several investigations, high-level investigations, and speed is a very, very pertinent issue in these investigations. So thanks again, Jerome.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. This has been TV Bakwetu and today's live program. On behalf of my other team members of TV Bakwetu, Dr. Munsha, Jenoch Pakupaku, and on my own behalf, we are saying good night. Please continue sending the stars to TV Bakwetu if you want TV Bakwetu to continue. It's your stars that we use for us to come here live. So please continue supporting TV Bakwetu by sending the stars, and we'll be continue giving you up-to-date analysis with different people coming on board and people who continue speaking their minds using TV Bakwetu. Thank you for your time and enjoy your evening.